Boom! Week 6 in the books. Week seven's here. It is Thursday night football, and the Denver Broncos and the New Orleans Saints are playing right now. The revenge of Sean Payton lives on. Cole, week 6 thoughts?
I had an epiphany, and this is going to be the theme of the episode. This needs to be
Just epiphanies?
no, we. I just I feel bad for you as like a team. I just look at like my life, and if I was in your shoes, and I just wouldn't, and I mean only in a football fan way.
Yeah.
In the As a Browns fan, coming from a Packers fan, and success is fleeting, and any type of, and you've witnessed it as a what were you 11-6, 12-5 last year, and a division, basically the 5 seed in the playoffs, but that's just because you had an incredible Ravens team that was the 1 seed, and y'all choked it away, and your entire freaking roster is stacked outside of the quarterback position, and it seems to be scheme
We would
and
be
the
4-2 if any other quarterback played.
and I just don't know. Again, it's not, history repeats itself, and I'm not saying that teams that draft well at quarterback are always going to draft well, and teams that don't will never. And like, look at the Redskins, for example. But for you, like, what do you do in that situation? And like, trading Amari Cooper, probably right thing to do, but at this point, it's like you have to deal. It's got to be
Is
more
it is it the
painful,
right thing to do? Andrew Berry's not hit on a third round pick since he's been a GM.
but it's more painful. What I'm trying to say is it's more painful.
Outside of Martin Emerson. Oh, outside of Martin Emerson.
You're Martin Emerson's the guy that's been giving up all the deep touchdown passes.
Yeah, he's not played well this year.
But my point is, you are in a spot where you have a talented roster and you're already folding in the towel. And that's the worst type of seasons you can possibly have. Like, think about Jesse Helms as a Panthers fan. He knows his team sucks, and he knows he's just to get a win is like, oh, wow, we won. But like, you guys know that last year you were really good. You had the best defense in the NFL. You had an incredible run game. You had a really good offensive line, and things change quick in the league, but that's crazy. But that's my epiphany.
Yeah, two big headlines this week in between games have been Devontae Adams traded from Las Vegas Raiders to the New York Jets, reunited with Aaron Rodgers. Cheap trade for the New York Jets. What was it, a third rounder?
It was a third rounder conditional for a second, and the second round pick is only if they go to the AFC Conference Championship or he becomes like a first team All Pro.
Gotcha. And then reports today are Devontae wants a long-term deal in New York. You know, if he plays well and he fits in there, I wouldn't see why him and Aaron don't stay there together. I wouldn't see why they don't do that. And on your point with the whole Amari Cooper thing, very angry about that whole thing. I was very upset that they traded Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was one of my favorite people to watch on the Browns, and he's the first Browns wide receiver since coming back in the NFL to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and they traded that away. Everybody's like, they fleeced the Bills. They fleeced the Bills. Yeah, we traded for Amari Cooper for a fifth round pick, and then we got a third round in return for Amari Cooper. But we don't have another fucking wide receiver. Jerry Judy's like okay, but like there's no one else to throw the ball to now. Maybe Njoku will get more
Elijah Moore.
touches. Elijah Moore sucks, and we gave up a second for him. He fucking blows. If his dad fucking tweets another video of how open his son is, and then I look at it and I'm like, he's not really that open. I don't. He sucks, dude. But in my opinion, they traded the wrong guy. No one,
Um,
no one in that locker room wants to play for Deshaun Watson, and it shows on the field.
no one's gonna trade for Deshaun Watson ever. Like, no
Cut
one's
him.
trading for him.
Fucking cut him. Anyways, let's get into last week's games. Last Thursday night, we had the 49ers and Seahawks. 49ers win 36-24. Brock Purdy looked good, three touchdowns. Geno Smith didn't have a bad game, but shaky to start, and the Seahawks offense kind of stumbled out of the gates and never could get back into the game.
Yeah, this was one of those where I think DK Metcalf was continuing to get frustrated with the offense, and it's honestly just a little bit of a frustrating season for them because of what they started 3-0 and now they're 3-3, and they're one of those chaotic teams that's really good, and you just don't know why. I mean, they make mistakes, but I think they're going to be okay. They're veteran heavy across the. I like their head coach. I think the fuck is his name? He was the defense
Donald
coordinator for the Ravens.
McDonald.
Donald, yeah, he's. I really like Mike McDonald. I think he's going to be a great defensive mind, and he's one of the few defensive young coaches that I think is going to make a name for himself in the league. But besides that, Brock Purdy looked incredible, and it's one of those things where I've always kind of held out on like if I'm gonna, I just kind of keep like a subjective power rankings in my head throughout the ages and throughout the years, and like where Jordan Love or my quarterback, whoever it is, ranks among the league. And like I think I'd have to admit I would say Brock Purdy is better than Jordan Love at this moment. Like I think he would be rated higher than Jordan Love.
You look, I mean, you see the difference between when he has Debo and George Kittle in the offense. Like it's night and day. Debo was obviously back in this game, three receptions, 102 yards and a touchdown. Started out the gates with a 64-yard touchdown. Incredible. But he was methodical down the stretch. Brock Purdy was.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say on that is it's not just methodical. A lot of that comes from scheme.
Hmm.
He's extending the play and he's so evasive in the pocket where he's extending, going outside the pocket, running on 3rd and 7, 3rd and long for 15, 20-yard scrambles. And he's just breaking a defense when that happens. And that's happened consistently in that game specifically, but also like the last 2 years. And that's not a Kyle Shanahan thing. That's what Josh Allen does.
That's a feel thing in the pocket. He eludes pressure. Fuck.
That's good. While you watch the Yankees game, I'm watching the
Anyways, all right,
Sun.
London. I knew that was a mistake. All right, London game. Bears win 35-16. Caleb Williams has his breaking out game. Four touchdown passes. Two to Cole Kmet, who ends up having to be the long snapper for the Bears the rest of the game because on the first touchdown, their long snapper got hurt. So Cole Kmet, emergency long snapper, did a pretty good job too. Trevor Lawrence didn't look very bad in this game, but he had no help. Gabe Davis dropping some passes, Christian Kirk dropping passes. Obviously, he got his favorite target in Evan Ingram back. Fed Evan Ingram 10 receptions, 102 yards. But Jags fell down early after going up quick 3-0, which should have been a 7-0, and never came back.
And talk about Doug Peterson getting fired every week. I saw something that was like the only reason he wasn't fired was because they play back-to-back London games, and there
Yeah,
would have been no point to fire him like halfway through the London trip because no, like what I mean, would have been
they would have been stuck
awkward.
there.
Yeah, so I think if they if they lose, it's 100%. I think he's fired. If they win, I still think there's a chance he's fired. But I don't think you can fire a coach mid-season on a win. So that's interesting.
I really think he should be fired right now. But Bears looking good, rolling deep. Defense looks good. Great to see Caleb Williams kind of play at that level, which we know he can play at. Watching him play at what college he go to? USC. Thank you.
USC.
Um, yeah, and DeAndre Swift continues to be a great pickup for the Bears. Obviously, he caught some flack, first 3 weeks of the season. Since then, he's torn it up. Another 91 yards on the day, another touchdown, and then additional yards in the receiving game. But Caleb
Rashawn Johnson
Williams,
really good. Like their backup running back's really good. They have a great receiving core. Caleb Williams is extending the play. They have a great tight end. Like they are a really good team. Their defense is playing phenomenal.
Yep.
NFC North.
NFC North, best division in football right now. What,
Yeah.
everybody's 4-2 or better?
Since the divisions divide or like since they had four teams in each division to the best division and best 6 week start ever in the history of a one division.
That's crazy. All right, on to another NFC North matchup. Not matchup, but team. Packers take down the Cardinals 34-13. Didn't really see much out of this game besides the two like fadeaway throws Jordan Love had to Dobbs.
Yeah. He well the first one was just kind of like a tight window throw against the sideline and it was a good throw. It wasn't like it's crazy. And then Dobbs made kind of an acrobatic play to get it in the end zone. Um, yeah, Love looked really good. He had four TDs, one interception. The interception was literally because the receiver it would have hit him right in the hands, Bill Melton, and he just slipped and it went right past his what would have been his jersey chest and it went to the cornerback that was like 6 yards behind him. So that was just like a terrible, fluke of what happened, and he really could have had more than four touchdowns. And he played pristine. We ran the ball really well. Uh, the Cardinals looked, I think, just a little bit flat when they lost Marvin Harrison, and even when they had Marvin Harrison, I don't think their offense looked that great. I kind of was expecting more. Trey McBride was their only type of leverage they had in the offense with the passing game. We stopped their run a lot better than I thought we would, especially with Kyler Murray and James Conner and their ground attack that they've had. They're like the highest yards per carry behind the Ravens in the NFL right now, and their efficiency was shit in this game. And so I don't know. It was kind of discouraging as a Cardinals fan if you're looking at that, but it's a long season and you never know.
Um, yeah, Cardinals feistiness that, I've been very high on looks like it kind of ran out pretty quick. I think there's
Yeah.
something to be said about them playing on the West Coast and then on the East Coast or middle of the country. Traveling east is not good for them, basically, is what I'm trying
Yeah.
to get at. But we'll see what ends up happening to them. Kyler Murray's still decent. He had a very good game the week before this. I don't know. Maybe it was just one of those like big letdown spots for him where they just came off a win against the 49ers, big win, and then played the Packers, kind of just fell flat.
Kyler Murray needs more weapons for sure, but I think he's still a good quarterback in the NFL. Like he's a starter, no doubt. I think he's a good starter. He's above average.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say he's above average as well. All right, next game, Colts take down the Titans 20-17. Joe Flacco, two touchdown passes. Told you if Joe Flacco plays in that game, fucking Colts are gonna win. What happened? Joe Flacco plays, they win.
I was with you on that. I completely thought the same thing. And I mean, Levis and them kept it close, and they tied it up. I think like halfway through the second quarter, and it was kind of a close game throughout. And the Colts didn't play great, but I know Anthony Richardson's starting next week, so that's kind of like the lost part. Richardson's injury prone. You never know. Could be right back for Joe Flacco soon. But yeah, I didn't watch much of this game besides like the highlights they showed at the halftime, show and the post game. So
Yeah, they didn't really show a lot of this game. Kind of a boring one, but
Jamal
Flacco,
Williams Jamal Williams requested to be released, and so he was granted a release from the Titans.
Jamal
That was the
Adams.
only. Did I say that's what I said? I said Jamal Williams.
Yeah, you said Williams.
Oh, sorry. Oh, and I don't know what he's going to do. If he's going to go back to the Jets or what, but who knows?
He'll probably get signed by the Browns and give up 70-yard touchdowns every other play. All right, next game. Texans Patriots. Drake May's come out party. He throws for three touchdown passes. Looks pretty good. Was able to elude people in the pocket. Not bad, going up against a pretty tough opponent in the Texans and CJ Stroud, and they're on a warpath right now. They dominated them 41-21.
This is the game that I wish I had the highlights that I could watch. I just want to see like all of Drake May's passes because I didn't see any of it.
The all 22, just all of his passes.
Yeah, like I just want to watch his whatever how many pass attempts he had and just watch like the plays because I'm curious about you always want to see how the rookie quarterbacks do and like oh
Mhm.
do them with that pick or not. And it sounded like he played like you just said, like he was promising. He I think there was two fumbles and like an errored pass that was bad or something, but outside of that, he made the Pats fun to watch, which is somewhat difficult to do. So, I mean, that's a good sign for the franchise. They don't have good weapons on their team. So if you have a player that can make their offense kind of exciting, that's a good start, kind of like a Kyler Murray.
I do agree with that. He was just able to get the weapons, not even the weapons, because he doesn't really have great weapons in this New England roster. But he was able to just get the ball out faster than Jacoby Brissett and process the plays better than Jacoby Brissett, which wasn't happening before. I don't really know what happened to Jacoby, but maybe he's just like a little bit older, one step slower type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really look like what I remember him being when he was with the Browns, what, 2, 3 years ago, and he was actually a formidable backup quarterback for them, won them some games, kept them in a lot of games too.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also think the offensive line's not good for the Patriots, and they also don't have any offensive weapons to throw to, and that's the problem.
I
Is
don't understand this whole like them going away from Ramondre Stevenson. He's been their most reliable
because he's
weapon for.
every game, I guess.
He's
And
hurt. Is that what you said?
no, he's been fumbling. Like
Oh,
had like a lot. So he was benched in a game like 2 weeks ago for fumbling too much, and then he didn't get the start. And then everyone's like, "Why are you not?" Like you just said, he's their best player. He needs to get the ball more. Maybe it's something like practice or off the field that Gerard Mayo is just not wanting to get in their game as much. But who knows?
and then this is going to tie back into Deshaun Watson. So you obviously remember how Drake May ended up getting the start in this game is the Patriot players had a mutiny against Gerard Mayo in order to get Drake May to start for this game. They were like, maybe we can win with Drake May. He's much better than Jacoby Brissett. I don't know how the Browns players haven't mutinied against the fucking organization to get Deshaun Watson out of the fucking QB1 spot, but that's besides the point. Let's move forward. Buccaneers, Saints. Buccaneers smack the Saints 51-27. The Saints scored 27 points in the second quarter, didn't score again.
I watched this game. I watched the Packers game at a sports bar, which had all the games on, and that was right next to my eyes. So I was very in tune to that game. That was incredible to see. I had never seen something like legitimately. It was like four plays, and the Saints were winning. Like they had two interceptions from Baker Mayfield, and back to back offensive plays. One of them was a pick six, and then there was a fumble. And I mean, they had a fumble too. Like it was unfortunate the way that the Buccaneers got up in the first quarter, but then the second half was just domination by the Buccaneers. So one of the flukiest games I think you've like ever watched, if like you're just trying to understand like the scoring flow. Um, Spencer Rattler impressed me, and he hasn't looked great so far in this game, but he impressed me a lot in that game against the Bucks on Sunday. So more to follow on that. I still think he's got the NFL talent for sure. It's just if he's making smart decisions with the football.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened to him at Oklahoma in Lincoln Riley's offense, and then obviously he ended up transferring to South Carolina, ended up starting there, had a decent seasons, but he was on that TV show QB1
Everyone
and what?
everyone hates him because of that.
Yeah, everyone hates him because of that show. He did come off like a douchebag in the show, I will say that. But I don't know when I watched that show, I thought he was pretty good. The guy who was his backup too was really good. Um, just like one of those high school teams that were fortunate enough to have two very good quarterbacks on their team.
Oh yeah, I think
But
that's why people hated him was because the backup quarterback was good and he was shit talking the backup like he wasn't good. And it's like Don't shit on your own.
They were best friends.
Yeah.
But Buccaneers, man, they fucking pounded the fucking Saints. 51-27. 51 fucking points? A 50 burger in the NFL? Baker Mayfield obviously had 4 touchdowns. That's like a regular day at the office now for him, but he did have 3 interceptions. To the next game. Eagles embarrassingly give up 16 points to the Browns and but win 20-16. And Nick Sirianni wanted to fight somebody in the crowd. This was a pretty boring game.
Yeah, when I just find it funny that like the Eagles won, and I have never seen a fan base fall apart after a win like this. Like you saw on ESPN, no one even really talked about the Browns anymore. Like no one even wants to have
Not
like,
even mention them.
and, like it's just like if you don't clearly just destroy your team, when I say your team, I mean the Browns, like the Eagles, like Damian Woody on ESPN's Get Up, what he said, like how terrible Nick Sirianni is, and like how they're the most unprepared team in the NFL, is what Dan Orlovsky said. And just because they can't win, well, like the thing that's crazy is that was my lock of the week, and that was the first one I think I got, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, once you guys got the block kick for the touchdown, I'm like, oh my God, am I actually gonna, like I wanted the Browns to win. So I'm like, am I actually go 0-6 on the season for locks? Like that would be so funny. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's I don't watch the Eagles enough since week one, where they looked good in week one. And it was kind of a litmus test. I think no one really knows who's good in week one. And like they beat the Packers, but both teams were playing sloppy football.
I
So,
don't know how good they were in week one because there's a thing in the NFL where if you pull in a new defensive coordinator, it takes a few games for that defense to kind of set in, get used to like game speed inside of that system. And you guys having a new defensive coordinator from Boston College, I don't know how well together your defense was because your defense looks much better than it did now in week 6 than it did in week 1. So
oh yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
know how, like going back to how good the Eagles are, it's confusing to see, you know, how good, like if they were that good in week 1, or maybe it was just like miscues on your defense. But
Oh,
they have all the weapons in the world. They got AJ Brown back, they got Devontae Smith back. Saquon Barkley's like the best running back in the league this year. Um, their defense is pretty solid.
hmm.
I will say this though. If the Browns started Jameis Winston, the Browns win that game 30-20.
What I like about Jameis Winston is he's gonna go down swinging. You know,
Yeah.
like that's always gonna be the way he loses. Is he's gonna be reckless, but he's gonna be doing whatever it takes to win. And a lot of times it's gonna come up short, but at least he's trying.
Yeah, I'm a bored fan watching the Browns now. Like I don't know how you can keep, you know, running the same guy out there that has such bad stats. I favorited the tweet. I'll go look at it real quick. I'll read it off. How bad this guy is, and they keep marching him out there thinking they're going to get a different result every single time, and it's just not going to happen, man. The
Yeah.
Browns are the first team in 10 years to score under 20 points in each of its first 6 games.
What quarterback would you draft in
Quinn
the
Ewers.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude,
Did you
Spencer,
watch?
Spencer Rattler is so God. He just had two fumbles back to back to return over for a touchdown. That was an ugly looking play. One of the ugliest plays I've ever seen from a quarterback. Anyways, uh, Quinn Ewers looked not great against Oklahoma in the first half.
In the first quarter, you mean?
Yeah, okay. Um,
After coming back from a AC joint injury.
yeah, okay. All I'll say is this: I'm not
Did
saying
you watch him play Michigan this year?
cool. Michigan's not good this year.
Their
Army's
defense is good.
here's what I'll say. If I think this is kind of like a fluky, like they're not very like there's star quarterbacks, but I don't think any of them are going to translate well. If there's one guy, and I like kind of reluctant to say this, but there's if I had to bet my money on someone to be a good starter, it would be Shador Sanders. I think Shador Sanders would be the guy I would want.
I don't think so, dude.
He's not going to be a bust.
I
It's like
don't I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna be that great. Anyways, we'll get into draft talk later in the year. Anyways, next game, probably the biggest game of the week was Commanders Ravens. Ravens 30, Commanders 23. Hey, Commanders gave a good fight here. Only lost by 7. The bad thing I will say is that it it looked like the Ravens could do anything they wanted to on offense.
there was in the beginning, the first half of that game, the Commanders made some stops and got some sacks and some pressure. Um, as the game went on, I think you just saw the better team come out slowly into, taking control. But I'll say this. I think again, the Commanders are getting better and better every single week. And this was a perfect game that you needed as a young team like the Commanders to humble you, realize like you're not the best team in since sliced bread, and you have to go back to the drawing board and continue to get better every week. I have never seen more Commanders fans in my life than when I went to this bar in Raleigh. It was, I'm serious, dude. It was like I literally asked the guy next to me. I'm like, "Is this a Commanders bar? Why are there so many Commanders fans?" Like they outnumbered the Cowboys fans, and it was like they were always there was like it was like a Packers bar almost. There was like 20 Commanders fans, and they didn't know each other. They just started screaming all the time. So yeah, I think all the people are coming back out of hibernation.
Ooh, oh, sorry. I usually mute my mic during that, but I was holding my phone looking for this stat that I can't find. But no, Jaden Daniels looked pretty good against a formidable defense. I would just say that the Ravens are, I think they're on a warpath right now. Like they lost that first week of the season to the Chiefs. They fucked around in that Raiders game, and since then they've really turned a switch, and they've been obliterating opponents, specifically like when they played the Bills. It surprised me that this game was this close. Obviously, good for the Commanders. They covered the spread.
Who's the best team in the AFC right now?
The Ravens, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a debate about that. Uh,
The well, obviously the Chiefs are 5-0. The only team that I was like, I would think about saying, oh man, they just lost.
you're up 2.
Yeah, but they should have been up 3-0. Fucking, they gave up a home run in the bottom of the ninth. Um, I knew that bringing in the closer the first 2 games when they didn't need to was gonna come back to haunt them. Anyways, not we're not talking baseball here. I don't remember what we were talking about. Anyways, next game. Chargers, Broncos. Chargers win 23-16. Herbert comes back, looks a little bit healthier. I think Joe Alt got hurt again in this game, and Patrick Surtain went down for the Broncos. Broncos went down early in this game by 23 actually to nothing, and then came roaring back in the fourth quarter to score 16 points. I wouldn't really say that was garbage time because the Chargers were definitely still playing their starters. And I think Bo Nix started really slow in this game, struggled against the Chargers defense, and then kind of hit a point where he was putting things together, and it kind of came together at the end, but they obviously came up short. You can't put them in a hole you can't put the Broncos in a hole like Bo Nix did in that game, especially with how good their defense is. You just don't want to be playing from like a 20-point deficit.
Yeah. I mean, right now they're playing good football. They're except for they can't get a touchdown. They're getting 3 points every time, but um, they are definitely in control in this game on the road. I'll say I didn't watch much of that game. I know like the headline was Jim Harbaugh had to leave the game for his heart arrhythmia and whatnot, and
That's the same thing you have, don't you?
it's yeah, like the ablations and all that crap. It's I mean I'm not gonna say I have the same thing, but like the same type of deals. Yeah, like when he said he had episodes and everything, like that's what I have. Um, but he's older, so it's probably like they treat it more serious and everything. But yeah, that was Cool to see the Chargers get another win. Looks like Justin Herbert's excelling and they're protecting him better than they did in the beginning of the season. And that's kind of a takeaway is like people trust Jim Harbaugh to protect his quarterback. And that's how their season can continue to go. And then that'll let Justin Herbert have time to at least find his shitty receivers and give them 15 seconds to get open because they can't fucking get open. And quote me on that.
All right,
Sorry.
next next game. Steelers 32, Raiders 13. Steelers defense really stepped up in this one. Justin Fields had a decent game, but obviously something has changed because it looks like Russell Wilson is going to be coming in. Raiders tank the season, dude. Go get a quarterback.
Um, yeah, for sure on that. I'll just say with the Steelers, I think the only thing I really want to talk about here is the Steelers at 4-2, changing quarterback. I don't think I think this was inevitable. I think it was going to happen, but I don't know if what would you do? Would you
I would stay with Justin Fields, dude. He brings a whole different element that Russell Wilson doesn't have. Like Russell Wilson, yeah, he has like maneuverability and escapability in the pocket, but Justin Fields can break a 60-yard run on any play. What and also has that maneuver and escapability that Russell Wilson possesses. I don't understand really that sort of change. I guess they're trying to get more of a veteran presence. Justin Fields has kind of struggled to get the ball to the wide receivers, but
My take on that is I don't trust anyone more than Mike Tomlin to make the right decision.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
And so he has to be like I would say like he has the pulse of that locker room more than any coach has the pulse of their locker room. And if he's making that decision, and he's usually in a bad spot, like the AFC North, usually the Steelers are like 500 or worse, like these last 10 years, and they're trying to climb out of a hole. This year, they're not in a hole, and he's making a QB change. I think he knows something that we don't see, on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he watches Russell Wilson in practice, so maybe there's something there. Maybe he has a better connection with George Pickens because we really haven't seen George Pickens excel in the Steelers offense really since the first game of the season. And he's obviously frustrated with the effort he's been putting out there. And you can't really like if the Steelers are going to win later on in the year, they're going to need George Pickens.
Yeah, what's going on with George Pickens?
Have you not seen the videos? Like he'll like run his routes at half speed, or he'll just run the wrong route, or he'll just run like third down, Fields will look the other direction and he'll just run off the field.
That was always the red flag with him coming out of the draft was he's got some character problems, but yeah, tough.
All right, to the next game we go. It was Jerry Jones's birthday. Unfortunately, the Cowboys could not give him a win on his birthday. Lions 47, Cowboys 9.
Is and my I don't want to. You might have to fact check me or don't, but the Cowboys are winless at home, right? Since the Packers Cowboys when they remember like last year, they
Yeah,
were the best home team in history.
or something
They,
like that.
they
Yeah, yeah.
won every game. They hadn't lost since the year before, and they were on like a 10-game win streak or 11-game win streak at home, and they had like the highest margin of victory ever. And now they're getting blown out worse than any other team at home. Like it's shocking to me to see just the 180. And I'm not going to say I've watched all of their game. I've seen just like the clips of the Lions and the Lions again. I think we all knew the Lions. To me, Lions Ravens Super Bowl is like what I would want to see. Obviously, I want my team there, but I think it's going to be the Lions. And I think if anyone wants the Chiefs, they can, just go watch Celine Dion sing her 27th album if they really like that much. So
He has
to me,
27 albums?
I don't know, but fuck it. She probably does at least. Um, but yeah, I like Celine Dion. Don't get me wrong. Um, yeah, this Cowboys, I feel bad for Jerry Jones.
I mean, he's the one that puts the team together, so
He's he ever have this face where your heart hurts for them? I shouldn't feel bad for someone that has $3 gajillion more than me, so I shouldn't ever feel bad about that. But part of me just feels bad that he would do whatever to win another Super Bowl. He would give whatever he possibly could to get a Super Bowl. And I think he might sacrifice his family. And and, and I don't think it would work. But
Just
I mean,
one by one,
yeah.
year after year. Lions, dogs. Um, Dan Campbell's got a fucking juggernaut over there. On to the next one. Falcons 38, Panthers 20. Falcons, stringing together some wins here. Obviously, the Panthers not that great of an opponent. Andy Dalton, I think the resting Bryce Young has gone on long enough. Maybe put him in the game now because Andy Dalton's not doing anything for them, really. Kirk Cousins looks a bit better, and this was Bijan Robinson's best game in the NFL so far, so his fantasy owners are happy. Other than that, don't really got much.
I don't want to talk about this game because it's the Panthers and the Falcons. We knew the Falcons were going to win. Falcons are good. I might be right by saying they were going to be 12-5. Who knows? Maybe I was right in the end of saying the Broncos were going to be good and the Falcons were going to be good. So
Dude, bold predictions that pay off.
yeah, but my locks don't. So
All right, Sunday Night Football, Bengals 17, Giants 7, Joe Burrow. Not the best day at the office for Joe Burrow, but he got the job done, 208 yards. Giants defense played mighty stingy on Sunday night.
um, do you send the Giants defense?
Yeah, obviously there were some mistakes on the Bengals offense part where like they would get a drive going, have a penalty, get kicked back. Jamar Chase had a key drop on a third down, things like that.
Yeah, I was trying to pay attention to that game. I was also like 37 alcoholic beverages deep when the game was going on, so I was in not a good spot to watch a football game. But I did hear that their defensive line was smothering of the Cincinnati Bengals, and even though it's kind of like another one of those situations where the Eagles won against the Browns, there was a lot of like it seemed as if the Giants should have won that game, and they had every opportunity to win that game, and they just failed to. And the Bengals looked like shit. So I think there's a concern there that the Bengals, who a lot of people had as favorites to win the AFC or at least go to the AFC Championship game, are now one of the most overrated teams in the league. So
The Bengals?
yeah, they did not look good. It's from what I was seeing two Joe Burrows when he was dropping back. That's how sober I was. But just from what I heard, because I listened to the experts, Chris Sims on Button.
Chris Sims. Uh, I don't know. We'll see. Bengals won two in a row though. Or did they win two in a row? Right? They
They
played.
lost to the Ravens.
No, yeah, they lost to the Ravens. They beat the Panthers 2 weeks ago. I couldn't remember when that happens. All right, Monday Night Football. Bills 23, Jets 20. It looked like the Bills were gonna run away with this game at one point, and then Aaron Rodgers throws a Hail Mary. It becomes a ref battle at the end of the game. Only 6 points being scored in the second half between the two teams. Aaron Rodgers does have a pretty good day at the office, 294, two touchdowns, but Jets offense it looked better, but not great.
Yeah, I don't. I saw the first. You know what? It sucks, dude. I literally turned the game off the play before the Hail Mary because I try to go to bed early on Monday nights or just school nights, and so I try to watch till halftime. If I'm not like doing something, so I literally was like, oh, they're gonna run out the clock, and it was like 7 seconds left in the second or whatever, and I turned the TV off. The next play, he throws a Hail Mary to Alan Lazard, and I'm like, that would have been so sick to watch live. And no, I love watching Aaron Rodgers. I think everyone knows that he's my like the Jets. Like have never been in a situation where I've like rooted for another team outside of the Packers, and like I'm rooting for the Jets to do well. Uh, Devontae Adams coming to the Jets. Last thing I'll say on this is just that's so cool for me. Like I'm like my childhood, not even my childhood, my adolescence was Rogers to Adams, Rogers to Nelson, and having Adams back, for one last dance with Rogers. How cool would it be if they go to the playoffs this year from 2-4, turn it around, make the playoffs?
Fire
They
their coach midseason.
they've got the talent.
They do have the talent. Their defense really needs to come together. That's a problem. But let's head into second down with the upcoming preview of week 7. Obviously, right now, the Broncos, did they just score a touchdown? Javonte Williams, 8-yard touchdown, make it 12-0. Will Lutz adds the extra point. Will Lutz kicking field goals for the Broncos against the Saints. That's kind of funny. 13-0 right now with 7 minutes and 30 seconds in the second to go. All right, let's go straight to London. Last London game of the year. Patriots, Jaguars. I don't know what to say about this one. Oh, the spread. Spread is -6 Jags.
This Wait, this is starting the game? Wait, we're on second down?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that makes sense. This is so you just talked through Thursday night football without me knowing. Okay, I heard you.
Yeah. I was just kind of,
Jags Patriots
yeah.
and
-6 Jags.
Jags are 6 point favorites.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, that's a tough one because that's Jags have their backs against the wall of walls. Like the Great Wall of China is behind them. And if they don't fucking win, like China loses. And we don't want that to happen just like economy wise.
You
So
could have
my
said that England loses.
so my thing is just well, I mean, England are the slaves of China, if you think about it. That you wouldn't know. It's a play on words, but think about it deep. I'll let people go back to the drawing boards. Second reference to that today. As we're saying this, I'd love to mention Drake May is a good quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, good quarterback. We should love a team that has a good quarterback playing against a team with a good quarterback, but they both have shit talent around them. And I thought the Jaguars had good talent, and they dropped 4 touchdown passes against the fucking Bears last week. So Gabe Davis played like shit. He finally caught one of the touchdown passes thrown to him. Evan Ingram, I know he got over 100 yards. He also had 2 drops that were pretty easy catches. I love Evan Ingram. I'm not saying he's bad. All in all, ETN not playing well. Tank Bigsby is like outplaying him at running back. Get the fucking offense going. That's your job, Doug Peterson. And let's see you guys beat a team that you need to beat. And if the Patriots come out on top, that's the most depressing 2 week stint in fucking England you can ever have.
I think I think I'm a little bit surprised at it being -6 with the Drake May factor right now. Because like the Jags have not been good this year, like at all.
They have a good team though. Tell me they don't.
They didn't beat the Browns. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, ultimately, I look at this game and yeah, I agree. The 6 point spread. If I had to put my money on a team, I'd put it on the Jags. But I don't think it's 6 points. I could easily see them like they're the team that should win. The Jags should win, and that's why they're 6 point favorites.
I agree with the should win. Don't agree with 6 points. But on to the next one, 1 o'clock games. Seahawks, Falcons. You see Kirk's little press conference he had today?
Uh, I did not.
It was Kirk O'Chain. He did Kirk O'Chains, and he's like, "We're gonna come in your house, and we're gonna steal your house," or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He said like we go like on your trap and we take
Yeah,
your
and we
some shit
take
like
your
that.
trap.
And and yeah, I mean he had a Diet Coke and a flannel, all that cool. I don't really care. I like Kirk Cousins. I don't really care about all the like the funny, oh look, he's a white guy doing black people things. Like I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like we're all one team, one fight. So it's funny that the media makes it like that. It's just kind of like a cute little thing that people like to like, oh, like look at that innocent white dude. Um, The
Falcons
two
-3, by the way.
Falcons -3,
Yeah.
and they're playing who? Sorry.
Seahawks.
Okay. Huge fucking game. It's in Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay. I will be watching that one. Actually, I won't because it's a 1 p.m. game and I fucking hate. Okay, this was gonna be my thing. I know we got to be faster here. My thing about this week, I think this is like the best slate we've had all season. I think there's incredible games and they're all at fucking 1 p.m. except for the Niners Chiefs game at 4. Like the terrible, no one wants to watch the fucking Steelers play the Jets at 8 p.m. on Sunday. No offense. I do because I'm a Jets fan, but no one wants to see that fucking game. You have four really good, like the Bears and the Lions.
I think they put the Jets too much on prime time.
They've been on prime time or in London every single fucking game this year. Like I like Aaron Rodgers so much. I
They're,
also
they're
don't think
two
they need
one
to be on
o'clock
prime
games,
time.
or they're two games that they no, they lost to the Broncos.
So regardless, yes, it's ridiculous. But to our point on the Seahawks game, 3 game losing streak. I think the Falcons are in a 3 game winning streak, if I'm not wrong. It's a huge game of really you're looking at playoff like right now. Get right as a Seahawks fan or as a team, as a Falcons. I mean, you have the chance to all of a sudden cement yourself as a front runner for the NFC South, which I think a lot of people that knew football knew that that was going to be a close option, but the Buccaneers. I mean, you knew the Falcons were going to get 2 when they got fucking Kirk Cousins, but
Yeah, they're outdoing themselves right now. I
yeah, and
don't disagree with you.
yeah, I just that's a huge game for the NFC.
Yeah, big game, big playoff implications in that game. I think the Falcons' schedule right now is very easy down the stretch, and yeah, you might not be far off with 12-5. Going into the next game, Titans at Bills. Bills -9.
Titans, Bills -9. Calvin Ridley's pissed because he's not getting the ball. He's probably not going to get the ball more because of what he said. So I Titans are a tough team, and I don't know if there are any Titans fans, so I don't really pity the fan base. But if there were, it's tough because they have one of the best front sevens in the NFL, like legitimately a great run game defense. They have an incredible defensive line. And they have a defense you could really build around. And their offense just doesn't have efficiency. I liked Will Levis last year. I just don't think he has anything more than like a Taylor Heineke to him now. Now that I've watched a little bit more of him and seen him grow, like he's got some flair to his arm, but I don't think it's anything that's impressive. Um,
There's I went back and watched some of the clips of him from last year. He was making very impressive throws last year, and I think he's just missing open reads. Like I think he's rushing himself.
yeah, no, I would agree to that.
But I don't disagree with your opinion of he might his max might be Taylor Heineke. I thought he was going to be much better than this, and I thought this was going to be a big step forward for him, and it hasn't been,
Do you
which
have
is
do you have an animal in your house or in your
no.
apartment? There was like a light that came on in your bedroom, like a that room behind your screen.
Yeah,
There
there's probably
was a yellow
like
light.
yeah, there's probably headlights coming
Oh,
into.
okay, that makes sense. That scared the shit out of me. I was like, dude, you just had something like, all right,
All right, next game, Bengals Browns. Bengals 5.5 point favorites. Shocked by that line.
Bengals are 5.5 point favorites.
Yeah. Before we get into this, two things. One, this game is being taken place at in Cleveland Brown Stadium. I forget actually what it's named. Huntington Bank Field. Um, yeah, it's going to be real hostile in there. Not for the Bengals. It's going to be hostile in there for the fucking Browns. If things go south with Deshaun Watson early, I wouldn't be surprised if some bottles get thrown on the field. Wouldn't be the first time in Cleveland that that happens during a game. Second thing is if you're the Lions GM, do you accept this trade? Ready?
If you're the
My,
Giants,
no, you're the Lions. You're the Lions GM. Remember, Aiden Hutchinson just broke his leg. Is done for the year.
yeah, it's Darius Smith.
No, Miles Garrett and Deshaun Watson for 2 ones.
No,
You wouldn't do it if you were the Lions?
I wouldn't. I can't take that contract with Deshaun Watson.
You would have Aiden Hutchinson and Miles Garrett for 4 years together.
They would completely take. They would take fucking if you threw in a one with that.
Like a one swap, like a one swap.
You would have to give up like a second or a third for that. I think they would definitely do two first rounds for Miles Garrett. Like that's a for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a
But
cakewalk.
no one's eating that contract of Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought that this week after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. I was like, I think the Lions would entertain that. Bengals gonna win by 30. Next game, Texans at Packers. Packers 2.5 point favorites.
Yeah, this is talk about an incredible matchup. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm just gonna say I think roster wise, Packers, I don't think just because they have a talented roster, it doesn't mean that they're playing like they're the best teams in the league. I think the Packers have one of the top to bottom, one of the deepest talented rosters in the league. I think they're very talented, both sides of the ball. Texans, I could say even more so. I think the Texans are extremely deep and they're talented on defense. Their defensive front seven, like I was just saying about the Titans. I mean, but like for real on the Texans, you look at Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, Aziz Al-Shire, like they have these players throughout that are just impressive. Henry Tuo, who's the Alabama player that was a safety hybrid linebacker guy, big playmaker. Derek Stingley on the back end, Jalen Petrie playing really good football as a safety. So they're playing really good on defense. Um, with D'Amico Ryans, in his scheme. I love obviously CJ Stroud is probably a top four quarterback in the league. And although they don't have Nico Collins in this game, they've got a loaded wide receiving core, and they've got Joe Mixon back in this one. They've got Damian Pierce back in this one, so I would be hard pressed to not pick the Texans in this. I know it's a probably picking the home team favorite, but cool little piece on this is the Packers are wearing all white uniforms for the first time ever. They're wearing a white helmet, which I don't know if I like. It looks pretty stupid, but their helmet will not have any yellow on it.
Hmm, interesting. And they're doing that at home?
Yeah,
That's
it's,
weird.
it's like winter or something, and it's not even winter. So
I'm just interested to watch this game. I'll probably watch this game over everything else. Probably won't even watch the Browns. That'll be the first time I don't watch the Browns. I can't even
let's
remember.
you're going to the next you're going to the next Packers game, so you have to do
Maybe I'll
your
be your
homework.
good luck charm
Yeah, or
because
bad
you're
luck, John.
what that's fucked up
Oh,
because you're winless, aren't you?
in the Roger from in the post Favre era, I am winless as a Packers fan going to games. I'm like 0-6.
I'm undefeated going to Browns games.
It's good.
Just touting that right now. All right, next game, kind of boring. Dolphins, Colts. Tua is not back. Anthony Richardson is back, even though Joe Flacco has thrown for 716 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 3 games. Colts are 3 point favorites. How? Because Snoop Huntley's playing. That's why.
Um, the Dolphins are one of the worst teams to watch play football right now, which is
Yeah,
just
terrible.
you would have never said that about the Dolphins going into this year.
I
So
fucking hate watching them. They don't even have highlights for their games.
yeah,
I don't even think and with Anthony Richardson playing, if he doesn't complete a 75-yard pass, which is like one out of every 13 throws, because that's all he can complete, it's there's nothing fun to watch about.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right, next game, fun matchup. Lions at Vikings. 4-1 Lions going into Minnesota to play the 5-0 Vikings. Minnesota, 1.5 point favorites.
Um,
Minnesota.
this is an incredible game. Talk about, you said the Lions are dogs. Who would have thought the Lions coming off of like a 30, no, like a 40-point victory against the Cowboys
In
on the road
Dallas.
are now going into US Bank as underdogs. Um, there's a lot of like Packers talk on like who would you rather have lose, just like from a division perspective, like who would you rather win? And I think the consensus is like you want the Lions to win because right now the Vikings kind of feel unbeatable. Like they're invincible right now. They haven't lost yet, so they're kind of riding high. Once they get their first loss, things can come back to reality and like maybe they start getting earthed a little bit more and Sam Darnold gets off of his little streak. So I think that could be big for the setting of the NFC North division if you get them off kilter, but we shall see.
Uh, 2 weeks of Brian Flores preparing for this Lions offense.
Oh, you're right. It was a bye week. Um, I'm sorry, Brian Johnson.
Ben.
Uh, Ben Johnson. I call him Brian for short. Um, tell me Benjamin Johnson is not ready for this shit, man. He's the best. He's the best offensive coordinator in the game.
What's going to be more interesting, the Lions offense versus the Vikings defense, or the Vikings offense versus the Lions defense?
Um, say it again.
The Lions offense versus the
Oh,
Vikings defense and the
yeah.
def
Hey, here's the thing. We're looking at this like now in week 7. The Lions defense, I'm worried about a little bit with the loss of Hutchinson. They don't really have a pass rusher. They signed a Lee McNeil to a big deal. He's a really good defensive interior player, but who they
they
got on the edge?
they could take Miles Garrett if they take Deshaun Watson too.
I'll let them know that. As someone that is really connected in sports, I will let their front office know that your front office is going
It
to
is
go.
kind of crazy that they play right now in week 7 and they don't play again until week 18.
Um, that's going to be a huge game. I could see a week
After they
18.
play and the Vikings play the Packers the week before.
Yeah, I mean, all the NFC North people are just going to crumble because we're going to beat each other.
All right, on to the next game, another interdivisional game. Eagles at Giants. Eagles 3 point favorites.
Uh, Eagles are 3-point favorites,
Mm-hmm.
and this is in Philly.
No, it's in New York or New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, I that's a huge game. It's a huge game. It's probably good that the Eagles are playing on the road because they need to get their shit together on the road before they come back and play. It's almost stressful when you're in those types of fan atmospheres, like in Cleveland, like you mentioned, when you're not performing well and you have one of those hostile fan bases that wants to just boo and throw things at you. Um, Nick Sirianni was riding high as like the Philly favorite for a year, and I mean, this is just him coming back to earth. So I
Yeah.
don't want anyone to suffer through like being hated, and I hope he gets things right with them. But it would be cool to see the Giants win.
Giants are 0-3 at home. Raiders at Rams. Rams 7 point favorites. I don't think Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua are back though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like I think when you look at like the last couple of performances from both teams, you're still a little bit encouraged with the Rams and what they're capable of. Also, again, I think you just put like the Sean McVay factor in there. Like if you're going to throw something out, Raiders don't really have anything going for them on offense. They lost Davante Adams. I think it's just like a who do you trust more, Antonio Pierce or Sean McVay?
or Matthew Stafford or Aiden O'Connell type deal. All right, next game, Panthers at Commanders. Commanders 8-point favorites. Mm,
The the Commanders are the probably the darlings of the NFC East. If you're looking at this from a now we're talking about okay, Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. Everyone thought that order was who was going to win the division. And now you're looking at the Eagles. Eagles are still what, 4-2? Can we just make sure that they're good? Yeah, they're 3-2.
3-2. They had a bye week. I knew that.
Yeah, but shit, man. I mean, like, look at just you can't tell me the Commanders aren't the best team in that division. So they're gonna win by 100 in this game, and they'll go to 5-2. And everyone that put money on the Commanders to win the division is gonna be looking happy as fuck.
The Commanders are like 30-1 to win the Super Bowl right now, which is kind of crazy. Um, yeah, I would rather see Bryce Young play in this game. I don't know. I don't know. The Panthers are just dead. Do something fun. All right, next game, the big one. Chiefs at 49ers. 49ers somehow 2-point favorites. Maybe it's just because they're at home, but they have been dealing with all those injuries. Christian McCaffrey is still not expected to come back. The Chiefs are coming off a bye week. Andy Reid is a fucking master coming out of the bye week. I would not, it would not surprise me if the Chiefs win this game.
What's the line again?
Two,
Chiefs?
49ers.
I'm staying away from that game. And when I say that, I'm not gonna stay away from the game, but I'm gonna wait because that's a you want the revenge for the Niners, and they're playing better football, I think. I think the Chiefs are just playing not to lose. Like Chiefs play to win, but they play like they're not dominating teams. Like they are like a fragile 5-0, and
Hmm.
they play teams, so they're not playing bad football. It's just they're not like, oh my God, that team just won by 38 points on the road. Like
The
they're
their first four victories, remember they played the Ravens week one, 27-20 victory. Isaiah Likely, if he's one shoe size smaller, he scores a touchdown to tie the game. John Harbaugh probably would go for two to try and win the game. Second game of the week, 26-25 against the Bengals. Barely squeaked that one out. Got a lucky call from the refs that a lot of people talked about. I thought it was the right call. Third week of the season, they play the Falcons 22-17. Kirk Cousins has the ball in his hand at the end of the game. Could have won it. And then they played a banged up Chargers team and only won 17-10.
um I also don't think it's like yeah, I'll save it because I don't want to get in that rant right now.
Could this be the game where if they lose, they pull the trigger on like going to get a DeAndre Hopkins?
I've seen that trade being thrown out there by media.
Yeah. All right, next game, Jets at Steelers for Sunday Night Football. Jets, 2-point favorites.
Just love this game so much. Um, Devontae Adams, this is 2-1 right here. This is my touchdown bet. Devontae Adams gets a touchdown.
Damn.
That happens. I bet it's like probably a minus 110 at least for that. But this is a big game. This is a well, I mean I do think this is a good primetime game because it's a pivotal matchup for the Jets, and they have a lot riding on their season, and this is kind of like the last stand. Um, yeah, I mean Pittsburgh's got a lot to play for. They definitely need to get this win. Russell Wilson wants to look good.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that switch, but
Will the
all right.
real Slim Shady please stand up?
Yeah. Two more games to go, two Monday night games. Ravens at Buccaneers. Ravens 3.5-point favorites. Pretty solid matchup for Monday Night Football. Look for Lamar to continue his dominance over the NFC. What is he, 23-1?
Yeah. Um, you just have to know that in those types of matchups, it's going to be I don't know. Like I would just be reluctant. That's a 3.5 point spread.
Ye-
Who would you pick in this?
If I had to pick, I don't know. Baker usually plays well against the Ravens, or has in the past.
I'd be
Like,
so okay with them just not having the Chargers Cardinals on Monday Night Football.
yeah, don't know why that's on Monday night, but
The
Cole
ratings
just
are going to
Cole
be
just
shit.
alluded to it. Chargers at Cardinals. Chargers 2.5 point favorites.
I bet you there's unless but if Buccaneers Ravens is like a 3-score game, that's the only way people will watch Chargers Cardinals. Um, if it's within 21 points, I'm not taking my TV off of the fucking Ravens Bucks. Just like you said, when they do the split screen, they're always going to show every single time.
Every
It's
time.
like watching NFL Red Zone with two games if they have that split screen bullshit.
I
So
have YouTube TV. I can watch them both.
yeah, and the thing is, they only do it because of the same network. If this was like one was on Fox, one was on CBS, they
They
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
do
doing
it.
it. But because they like are trying to like tag team and work together on this dumb shit, it's excessive.
All right, let's go into third down. Best sneakiest matchup. Update from Broncos Saints. Broncos up 16-3 as of right now. What's your best and sneakiest matchup?
Um, Best matchup is by far, I think Lions Vikings. I think that's huge. I think the next best matchup is I think for me, and I could be biased, but I think Texans and Packers is a very compelling game. CJ Stroud, Jordan Love. I don't know why that type of matchup wouldn't be like a Sunday Night Football primetime matchup throughout the season slate, but Packers have had four straight 1 p.m. games, and I kind of don't like it. Uh, and yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens with that. Kind of a powerhouse of the AFC. I think they're the second best team in the AFC right now, behind the Ravens, and I would put the Chiefs third. So again, we're talking regular season. Once you get to the playoffs, Pat Mahomes, it's the Pat Mahomes effect. But uh, worst, not worst matchup, the sneakiest matchup. Uh, Definitely. I think Seahawks Falcons is big.
All right, well, my best matchup's probably going to be Chiefs 49ers. That 4 o'clock game, I think all eyes on are going to be on that in the 4 o'clock. I don't know who's going to want to watch the Panthers and Commanders besides if you're a fan of either one of those teams. Sneakiest matchup, since you took mine, I'm just going to say the Monday Night Football matchup of the Chargers Cardinals because we just shit on it. No, I'm just kidding. Ravens Buccaneers. Look for Lamar to go 24-1 against the NFC. If he could ever just get into a Super Bowl, he'd probably win it. All right, fourth down. Favorite and upset. Who is your favorite, Cole? You are 1-5 on the season in this for favorites, and you are 2-4 on the season in upsets.
My favorite, give me the Commanders over the
Panthers.
Panthers. Yeah.
Good pick. Good pick. Man, I think I'm gonna go with the Bills for
Okay.
my favorite. Who's your upset?
I'm gonna go with the Texans over the Packers.
Texans over the Packers. Okay. For my upset of the week, give me the Lions.
It's a good one.
All right. Pick six. Reviewing our pick six over the season. Cole, dominant last week. 5-1. Brings himself above 500 just a bit. 18, 17, and 1 on the season. I go 4-2 on the week, pushing me to 23 and 12. Cole, even with his cold start, is still right on my heels.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the best, and everyone knows it. Um, my let's Let's go one for one, shall we?
Okay.
My first game I'm going to pick that I think is going to be a clear and decisive victory. Let me get the Eagles -3.
Eagles -3. I will take the Patriots +6.
Give me the
Oh, I totally forgot about that, but all right.
what happened?
I forgot that the Jags have been over there for a full week and the Patriots have to travel there.
Give me the you know what? I would like to take the give me the Niners -2.
Niners -2. Give me the Bengals -5.5.
Give me the Browns +5.5.
Browns +5.5. Alrighty. Give me the hmm, it's getting tight. I kind of want to just do it. Let's see that going so south. Lions +1.5.
Give me the Buccaneers +3.5.
Bucks +3.5. Um, mm, I like. Nah. Give me the Chiefs. Chiefs +2.
Give me the Texans +2.5.
Texans +2.5. I've gone back and forth on this one several times. I'll take the Chargers -2.5.
-2.5. Okay, how many? I get one more.
Yeah, you have one more.
Give me the Commanders
-8.
-8.
All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the Jets. No, Steelers -2 or +2.5. +2. Fuck it. I've taken the Steelers like every week. All right, that is pick six. Cole has given his anytime touchdown already. I have one right now. Saquon Barkley, revenge game, touchdown against the Giants. Can see it coming. Probably a receiving touchdown to just shove it in Giants fans' faces that he can actually get to the ball. Any other ones?
Uh, I'll go Josh Jacobs touchdown.
Ooh, thanks. Appreciate that. Playoff baseball's going on right now. Highly disappointed in the Yankees right now. Definitely should be up 3-0. Gave life back to the Guardians. Uh, all my Cleveland friends are just so irrational when it comes to baseball. It's fucking they're idiots.
Why are you not a Cleveland Guardians fan?
Because I'm from Connecticut and my whole family's Yankees fans.
So why didn't you become a fucking Giants fan?
Because my oldest cousin is a Browns fan, and I lived with my aunt and uncle when I was coming of age for football, and I
You
was
see, your logic doesn't make sense. You can't pick. I get what you're saying, but I also the logic doesn't make sense. You got to know that.
I don't understand the logic. You're what do you mean the logic?
The you mean the thing?
What do you mean the thing?
You are from New York, Connecticut, same shit. So you're claiming the Yankees because you're from New York. So then that should be the same logic for why you claim the Giants.
No, I have a
Then,
story behind why I'm a Browns fan.
but your cousin wasn't a Guardians fan.
No.
Okay, then maybe that works.
He grew up in the 80s with uh Bernie Kosar and all of them, the Cardiac Kids, and he just liked them because of that. When they were good.
Okay, well, that's coming back anytime soon now, or I would expect it in the next couple of months, weeks, days.
That we'd be good.
You know,
Browns aren't turning any sort of page. All right, that's
Deshaun
it for
Watson, Deshaun Watson used all 26 of his genies in a bottle already, so there's there's no more of those coming out. But
he's probably I hope he just gets found for being at Diddy parties. Anyways, that's it for MnM going deep. We'll see you all next week after week 7 gets in the books and week 8 is upon us. Have a great week everyone and stay classy. Go Yanks.